You know, when you think of the Great Wall of China, you probably picture this incredible snake-like structure, slithering over mountains and dipping into valleys. But it's so much more than just brick and stone. It's really a silent witness that's watched centuries of human ambition, incredible genius, and, well, profound tragedy unfold. We're going to dive into its epic story.
So when we look at the wall, we're really faced with a pretty stark question. Are we looking at one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements, a fortress built by a brilliant empire? Or are we seeing something much darker, a monument literally built on the bones of millions? Let's dig into both sides of this amazing story.
To even start to get a handle on the sheer scale of this thing, let's just talk about the length, 21,196 kilometers. That number is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. To put it into perspective, that's more than half the circumference of the entire planet. It's a distance so vast it feels like it shouldn't even be possible.
But then there's another number, and this one is a lot more sobering. Over 400,000. That's the estimated number of people who died while building the wall. 400,000 souls. It's a figure that really forces you to look past the stone and see the staggering human cost.
Okay, so imagine you wanted to walk the whole thing. Let's say you're in incredible shape and you cover a grueling 40 kilometers every single day, without a break. It would still take you 18 months to finish the journey. A year and a half. It's such a ridiculously difficult feat that in all of history, only 3 people have ever actually done it.
All right, so first, let's just appreciate the wall for what it is, a total triumph of engineering. I mean, make no mistake, this was one of the most advanced and sophisticated construction projects of its time, a true testament to the genius of an empire.
So how in the world has this wall managed to survive for millennia through earthquakes and brutal storms? Well, the secret ingredient was sticky rice. Seriously, the same stuff you eat. Ancient engineers mixed sticky rice flour with lime, and what they got was the world's first biological cement. The amylopectin in the rice created such a powerful bond that even today, weeds still can't grow between the bricks in some parts.
And the wall wasn't just some passive barrier, it was an active, intelligent defense system. Get this, it had over 25,000 watchtowers, and each one was basically a mini fort that could house soldiers and store weapons. They had a rapid signal system, smoke during the day, fire at night. They could send messages across hundreds of kilometers in just a few hours. Throw in holes for archers and cannons, and even secret passages for surprise attacks. And you've got yourself a seriously formidable fortress.
But here's another piece of genius. It was more than just a barrier. It was also a highway in the sky. Its top was built wide and flat, wide enough for soldiers and even horsemen to move quickly across these crazy mountain terrains that would have been totally impassable otherwise. It was a vital strategic artery, connecting the entire empire's defenses.
Okay, but for every stroke of genius, there is a shadow. And now we have to turn to the immense, brutal price that was paid for this ambition, and the reason the wall earned its tragic nickname, the world's longest graveyard. And that's not just a metaphor. When workers died from exhaustion, disease, accidents, their bodies were often just thrown into the foundation and built right over. The wall itself became their tomb. It's a structure that is literally intertwined with the remains of its own builders. For the 2 million workers who were conscripted, life was a living nightmare. We're talking about farmers, soldiers, and prisoners all forced into this labor. They had to deal with brutal conditions, scorching heat, freezing cold, all with barely enough food and disease running rampant. The slightest mistake or any kind of delay was punishable by death. They say at least 1 man was taken from every single family in China, and so many of them never came back.
This incredible suffering is just woven into the fabric of Chinese culture. There's a famous legend of Meng Zhongnu, a woman whose sorrow for her dead husband was so powerful that her weeping actually caused a section of the wall to collapse, exposing his bones so she could finally give him a proper burial. It's a story that really puts a human face on the loss of those hundreds of thousands of people.
So why? Why build such a colossal, costly structure? Well, to understand that, we need to understand the fundamental conflict it represented. The wall was way more than a border. It was a line drawn in the sand between 2 totally different ways of life. So on one side, you had the settled, agricultural civilization of China. This was a society built on farming, stability, and wealth. On the other side, you had the nomadic warriors of the northern steppes,
Whenever resources got scarce, these incredibly skilled horsemen would just raid Chinese villages, taking grain and valuables. The Great Wall was this massive attempt to create a permanent, hard border to stop those raids for good.
But for all its amazing engineering, the wall's greatest weakness wasn't stone, it was people. It was first dreamed up by Emperor Qin Shi Huang to be this impenetrable barrier. But in the 13th century, Genghis Khan and the Mongols, they didn't smash through it. They just went around weaker spots and bribed the guards. And then, in 1644, the wall's defenses became completely useless when a Chinese general just opened the gates, letting the Manchus pour in and conquer China.
And just like that, the wall's whole purpose just vanished. Once the Manchus ruled China and the lands to the north, the empire was on both sides of the wall. This great defensive line that had cost so much blood and treasure became, almost overnight, completely irrelevant from a military standpoint.
So the wall's time as a military fortress was over. What about its purpose today? Let's bring the story into the modern era and take a look at the myths and the complex legacy it carries now.
First, let's just bust the biggest myth of all. I'm sure you've heard it, you can see the Great Wall from the moon. It's a great story, right? But it is completely false. China's very first astronaut, Yang Liwei, confirmed you can't even see it from low Earth orbit. NASA has the perfect analogy for it. Trying to see the wall from space is like trying to spot a single human hair from 3 kilometers away.
And what's the condition of the wall itself these days? Well, while some parts are perfectly preserved for tourists, a huge portion of it is in ruins. In fact, a staggering 30% of the wall has completely disappeared. A lot of the bricks were actually stolen by locals over the years to build their houses and farms.
But despite all the decay, today the wall has found a new purpose. It's been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1987, and it's become a powerful symbol of Chinese identity. Not to mention, it's a massive economic engine, drawing in over 10 million tourists every single year who want to walk on its stones and just feel that weight of history.
There's a line that I think captures the wall's essence perfectly. History never dies. It just turns to stone. And that's really what the wall is. It's a physical record of a nation's will to survive, a testament to what we can achieve, and also a really somber reminder of the sacrifices that were demanded along the way.
Which of course brings us right back to our central question. Is the Great Wall a monument to human ambition, or is it a warning of its terrible cost? Maybe it's both. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What really is the true measure of greatness?